One last time for the road between the Sixers and the Charlotte Hornets, as the Sixers improved on Monday to 8-16. The Charlotte Hornets dropped to 7-20, courtesy of the loss to the Philadelphia 76ers. And tonight, could you get the big fella back sooner than you expected? We'll talk about it all right here on the PHLY Sixers Pregame Show, presented by Coors Light. Coors Light, make sure you check them out. Visit CoorsLight.com/PHLY basketball to get Coors Light delivered or to find a store near you. We'll give you an update as we're happening in the moment to find out if Joel Embiid is playing or not, listed as questionable. Derek Bodner, who is at the arena, will speak to him either in pregame at the end of the show here or postgame following the game as the Sixers go for a sweep over the Charlotte Hornets this season. Joined by no Rich Hoffman tonight. We got my man Roy Burton hanging out with us. We get to see him before the holiday season kicks off. I'm Devon Givens. Brianna producing, all of you in the chat. And I first want to thank everybody for showing up at Reading Terminal for all of the shows, not just the Sixers at 12:45 with Kyle and Derek, but from Anthony to the Sixers, of course, John Marks' show with Jamie and Tyler. And then you had the Eagles and the Flyers. Everybody showed up at Reading Terminal for our second time there for the holiday season last year for both Christmas and Thanksgiving this year as well. Thanksgiving and Christmas. Looked like it was a great turnout. Sorry that I missed it. I'll definitely be back next time. But we have a job to do here tonight. We do. Roy and I do. And saw the little photo of Joel with the mask on.
Right. So we saw the carbon fiber mask. I don't know if you saw, but
and if they're showing that.
Official word.
He's playing.
The word is
man.
out. He is playing.
Joel
Embiid is playing tonight, according to our good friend Derek Bodner. The starting lineup tonight for your Sixers: Tyrese Maxey, Kelly Oubre Jr., Paul George, KJ Martin, and Joel Embiid.
All right. Let's start there then. Your thoughts, man. He's playing. Initially, he was supposed to be out for the entire week.
Right.
Reevaluated in 1 week, missed all 3 games, 2 against Charlotte. Tomorrow night, second in the back-to-back against the Cleveland Cavaliers on the road. So we'll figure out if he plays against Cleveland tomorrow night.
Right.
But things, it seemed like he improved much better, as Kyle and Derek were talking about on the show a little bit earlier. Andre Drummond kind of let the cat out of the bag a bit that he was playing and feeling a lot better. And here we are ahead of schedule. He's going to give it a go tonight against the Charlotte Hornets. I'm
a little surprised because, again, usually when this team says reevaluated in a week, that means the guy is out for 2.5 weeks, right? Like we always put it on the I want to say the higher end of the schedule, but past the upper end of the schedule when we get injury updates from this team. So to hear that Joel Embiid is going to play tonight, it's refreshing because it's good. I mean, and look, Kyle alluded to it earlier today at Reading Terminal Market. Joel Embiid wants to be out there. Like Joel Embiid's a gamer. Joel Embiid wants to play every basketball game he's physically able to play. So I'm not surprised by this. I'm happy that he's out there, and quite frankly, it's good to see that we have a chance to have these 3 guys to develop some more chemistry heading into the Christmas holidays.
As you say that with Joel wanting to play, I had an interesting conversation with, as you and Bree know, I had to stop and make a quick fix, get my tire fixed on the way in.
Right.
And shout out to my guys at the tire shop for hooking me up, making sure I was good to go. New PHLY subscriber.
There you go. You got a subscriber to say, look at that.
Right away.
This man wears many hats.
Right away, man. Right away.
Hats.
Had to let my guy know that, you make sure you tune into the show. So he's a season ticket holder.
Nice.
And we were talking about the team, and he asked me about Embiid, and he says, does he want to play?
Right.
And I was like, yeah, he wants to play. He absolutely wants to play. Sometimes we'll talk about his laziness because we have seen it. 8 years on the floor. We know what it looks like. He has his moments. But he's a great player. As you can see there, Bree throwing up there, courtesy of the Sixers Twitter. Joel Embiid with the new grayish mask there. Not the black one.
Yeah, not quite the Phantom of the Process
not
mask
the
that
clear
we're used to.
one.
Right. Yeah.
It's gray. So we'll see if it's gray when he suits up. But as I was talking to the guys there, just talking about Embiid, yes, he wants to play. He's injured right now, and some of that stuff, he broke his face. Again, the sinus fracture. That's not his fault. He didn't do it. It was a simple basketball move as the Indiana Pacers player, Benedict Mathurin, was coming down. They were all going for a rebound. He was there at the game, saw it happen in real time. It was an accident. Bad luck again.
Terrible luck.
Where he gets smacked in the face, and now he has a sinus fracture as a result. But as we talk about him, we can get into a lot of things about what we don't like about Joel Embiid.
Sure.
But one thing that we do know is he wants to play basketball. So for him to come back early and get back out there on the floor to help his teammates out, against an opponent that, quite frankly, we'll get to what they look like,
Right.
that they should smack around here tonight. It's good for him to get back into it, get into a groove here against the Charlotte Hornets team, and we'll see what it looks like possibly after the game. If he plays enough where they can sit in the fourth quarter, maybe he has a chance to play against the Cleveland Cavaliers tomorrow on the second night of a back-to-back on the road. Here's the starting lineup as Rich talks about. Bree has it up on the screen. Joel Embiid at the 5. KJ Martin getting the start once again at the 4 spot. Yabusele coming off the bench. Interesting there. I'd like to get your thoughts on that. Paul George, Kelly Oubre, and Tyrese Maxey. So that's your starting 5 tonight against the Charlotte Hornets. We'll take a peek at what they look like. But Joel is back, man. So what are your thoughts coming into this one? How much do you expect him to play? What do you see Nick Nurse doing with him? And also having KJ Martin there in the front court as that starting front court partner.
So I want to answer your question by asking you another question.
I got a lot of questions.
No, because I want to ask you a question because again, this is something that Kyle and Derek talked about earlier today at Reading Terminal. Joel Embiid obviously is healthy, he's ready to go. This is a team you should beat. This is a team you should smack around, like you said. Coming into without Joel Embiid, Sixers double-digit favorite over the Hornets. The Hornets have lost with 11 out of 12. They've been getting smacked around by just about everybody over the past 3 or 4 weeks. Would you have sat Joel Embiid tonight and played him? Because I doubt he plays tomorrow. Because again, they've been on record multiple times saying they don't want to play him in back-to-backs. Would you have sat him tonight against a team that you should beat without him, and played him against a team that's going to be a very difficult matchup tomorrow? Especially in the front court with against the Cleveland Cavaliers, or since he's ready and healthy to go, do you just play him since he's ready and healthy to go, and deal with tomorrow when tomorrow comes?
Yeah, deal with tomorrow when tomorrow comes for a few reasons. One, because you need to stack up wins. It's no guarantee that you can pick up wins. Yes, they beat them without Joel on Monday, and it wasn't even close. They beat them, and it was handily, and they had their starters on the floor, LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller, et cetera, on the floor on Monday. So with them out tonight, which again, we'll talk about it a little bit more. Yes, YY Marvel, Joel is playing. So a good development on this Friday night. So because they need to stack up wins, I play him.
Okay.
Worry about tomorrow after the game. Secondly, because he is playing in this new mask, I want him to get used to this new mask.
Good point.
As well. Whether he plays 25 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever number of points he puts up, I want him to get used to the mask. And third and final, we need to continue to see Joel Embiid, Paul George, and Tyrese Maxey stack minutes together out there on the floor. We have only seen 4 games in total all season between the big three that they have. No disrespect to Derek Bodner with the big 4 of Jared McCain being a part of that. But with that big 3, he needs to be out there on the floor. So the chemistry that they continue to need to develop, we saw it a week and a half ago against the Chicago Bulls, where they were phenomenal out there, at least the 2, and Maxey and Embiid. Paul George still struggled in that game a bit, where you still need to find out what that trio looks like. So as a result, to your question, the first 2 they just need to stack wins. They need to go for win number 9 tonight, get an easy win if they can. Get him some minutes, sit him in the fourth quarter to possibly be ready for tomorrow, get used to the mask, and most importantly, we need to see the 3 of them out there on the floor together. So that's why I play tonight. Okay. And if the results are what we expect them to be tonight in beating down this shorthanded Charlotte team that only has 7 wins, when they do have their full complement of players out there, sit him in the fourth quarter, give him an opportunity to get back out there tomorrow against a much better Cleveland team. But that is, once again, after only having to play 20, 25, maybe just under 30 minutes against this team tonight.
So you expect a minutes restriction on Joel Embiid tonight?
I don't necessarily expect a minute restriction. I expect him to beat the hell out of this basketball team. Naturally, yeah.
Gotcha.
It'll naturally happen organically, and you sit them like we saw in December last year, where they were just destroying the field, and they would sit in the fourth quarter. Yeah, so the natural minute restriction will happen. The natural load management will happen because they'll destroy this basketball team. So those are my 3 thoughts.
Really quick, the starters for the Hornets tonight: Vasa Micic, Cody Martin, Josh Green, Miles Bridges, and Nick Richards. They're banged up. No, obviously Grant Williams is out for the year. Mark Williams is out. No LaMelo Ball. No Trey Mann. No Brandon Miller. So
they have nothing.
3 of their top 4 scorers are out tonight.
Yes.
Like, you should really handle this
team.
You
shut down Miles Bridges, and you should be pretty good to go. Now, look, Vasily Micic, he might have some numbers overall, but it's not going to result in a win over this basketball team because it shouldn't.
No.
And if that's the case, then yes, I'm perfectly fine with the matchup that you have here. They're going to have, I like Charles Lee as a coach, but they're shorthanded. They don't have 4 of their starters when you include Trey Mann. But if you want to add the 5th, because of the fact that Grant Williams has a torn ACL and has been out for a week and a half now, they don't have their 5 starters.
Right.
So as a result, they should destroy this basketball team tonight, and that's what I expect. We'll talk about Maxey and George and the rest of the players when we get back. Take a quick break, come back, talk about Tyrese Maxey, Paul George, their partnership that we saw on Monday against this very Charlotte team. The Charlotte team will look a little different, but could we get the same result from the 2 All-Stars and Maxey and George? We'll talk about that when we get back right here on the PHLY Sixers Pregame Show presented by Coors Light. The holiday is here. We're less than a week away from the holidays. And look, you have your kids, you have your nieces, your nephews, your younger cousins, and maybe you want to teach them about some financial responsibility. And you do that with our good friends from TrueMark Financial. We all know that it's hard without the proper coaching to teach not only players in professional games, college, high school, and all, but also when you're teaching your young ones and your family about financial responsibility. And TrueMark Financial has you covered overall. TrueMark Financial right now is teaching to help teach financial responsibility through the Green Light app. The Green Light app is changing the game, helping kids and teens learn how to use their money, earn, save, and spend wisely. They can set up savings goals, track their spending, and even get an allowance overall, save and with all of that through the Green Light app. Also, here's the really cool part when it comes to your kids. You know how you teach them things and they feel very, very confident and happy as if they achieved something. Once you teach them anything within life as the guardian or parent or whatever it is in their lives, and when you do that, they feel a sense of pride. And that sense of pride comes with the Green Light app also because they get their very own debit card. So holiday season, they want to go and buy their cousin, their mom, their dad, their sibling something for the holidays, and they feel good about it by using their own debit card. And once again, you can do that through the Green Light app. So it's like coaching your kid through their very own financial game. With the holidays right around the corner, now is the perfect time to introduce your kid or some other kid in your life overall through True Green Light. Get signed up today. Visit TrueMark.com/greenlight for more information. Once again, visit TrueMarkFinancial.com/greenlight to learn more. Also want to tell you, if you're looking for last minute tickets right now, last minute tickets to the game tonight, Joel Embiid is on the floor. Oftentimes people say, I'm ticked off as a season ticket holder or an individual game buyer of tickets to want to go out there and see the 76ers, but Joel is not playing. Well, guess what, folks? Joel is playing. So if you want to get some last minute tickets right now, you do so from our partners at Game Time. Game Time is focused on togetherness this holiday season. That means when you bring people together at live events like tonight to get a big W, the experience is that much better. And it's also the perfect gift. So you want to surprise someone, you're all out shopping, you just got the shopping done. You said, you know what? Let me surprise whoever I'm with. Let's go to the game. You're crossing the bridge. You're coming from a certain spot in the area, and you can say, let's just head right down to the sports complex and check out the 76ers tonight. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks as well that makes getting tickets for live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff. You only have to deal with incredible deals on the great seats that you want, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. They also have the great opportunity of you having the seat views. You can get the seat views. You can check it out. Get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. The lowest price guaranteed on Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Create an account. Use code PHLY for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account. Redeem code PHLY for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. Ooh. Thank you, Roy. Welcome back to the PHLY Sixers Pregame Show presented by Coors Light. Tyrese Maxey, Paul George combined for 73 points in the win on Monday, and it looked real easy. They set the tone early. Each of them, they were keeping pace with one another. 9 points here, 12 points here. I think they ended up with like 27 of the Sixers, 30 whatever points in that first quarter. They were phenomenal, man. And this was the first time where we saw exactly what we wanted to see from those two, and their partnership was on full display.
Yeah, and they're 4-1. Sixers are 4-1 when both of those guys have been in the lineup this year. And again, this is what you want to see out of these guys. And I think, again, you want to see it again today. And I think you're going to see it again, especially with Joel Embiid out there. But I want to see what I saw in that game where Paul George sometimes initiates the offense and Tyrese Maxey comes off and the screen and gets a shot, and vice versa. I think these guys, I think they're kind of like those Eagles wide receivers, like get them going early. Because once you get Paul George going early, once you get Tyrese Maxey going early, you're going to get those 30, 35-point nights.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the key, obviously, you're going to get Joel Embiid, probably the first couple touches. But after you do that, I think it's key on Nick Nurse to make sure you get some good early looks for George and for Maxey. Because again, I think once those guys get going early, that makes everything easier for everybody else.
What were you most impressed about from them when watching that? 40 and 33 overall, but again, all around games for both.
Yeah. Really, just especially Paul George, just shooting. Maxey's been a little bit off a bit this year, shot wise, but just their pure shooting. They both hit a few threes.
They combined for 12 made 3-pointers.
Yeah. When Paul George is on, he is a phenomenal, offensively, he's a phenomenal basketball player to watch. That to me is just one of those things. It's it seems like an almost effortless type, type of KD type of scoring, when he's on. And so obviously you're not going to get those kind of nights every night. But I think, when you're playing with the Tyrese Maxey, when you're playing with the Joel Embiid, where defenses have to respect those guys, I think you can get a little bit more of that Paul George than you probably got with the Clippers. So again, I don't know if you're going to have to see that a lot tonight, because again, this might be an organic, fourth quarter rest period for these guys. But I do want to see some of that tonight, where Paul George and Tyrese Maxey kind of play that 2-man game and get each other open looks.
Yeah, and the way that you saw how they were playing off of one another. They were finding each other, and the teammates also doing the exact same thing by finding them. They had the hot hand. So to your point, 6 made threes for each in the game, with their 12 overall combined at the end of it. 6 for 9 for Paul George, 6 for 12 for Tyrese Maxey for his 40, and he kind of padded it at the end. Not his fault. They were fouling, so he made his free throws. And that was one of the things that I wanted to point out because of Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah.
We always talk about him going to the basket and not getting the calls, and he's starting to complain about the calls a little bit. That has been a little bit frustrating for me watching.
Sure.
And he got the calls. He got to the free throw line. He made those, and he earned them. And the thing I liked about it is he kept doing what he kept doing, and he got there, got the calls, and he didn't have to complain. The few times that he didn't complain. He got back on defense. It wasn't an odd man fast break on the other end. The other one that I like is he adjusted. He adjusted with the counter of, I can get to the basket. I'm making my shots early, as you talked about. Now I'm going to incorporate, like we've been hammering, hit your mid-range jump shot, put the brakes on as you're going that full speed, 100 miles per hour, but you can also stop on a dime, pull back on that jump shot there, where you have that step back, if you will, not behind the 3-point line, but somewhere around 15 to 17 feet.
Foul unextended,
and you knock down that jumper. And he did. And he had it working. So you had it working at every level on the offensive side for Tyrese Maxey. And that's what I was encouraged by, because the guys were talking about it a little bit earlier, how it seems like the life of the joy that he has played with since he has been a Philadelphia 76er for the 5 years hasn't been there. Losing will do that to you.
Exactly.
But when you're also not playing the way that you expect yourself to play at the All-Star level that he has shown us to be from last season, that's going to take a little bit of a hit. And he's human. And he is also impacted and affected by some of that poor play with no Paul George on the floor, with no Joel Embiid, and now also with no Jared McCain, that you can see where that he's taken aback by it a little bit.
Yeah.
But we saw Tyrese Maxey on Monday, and that's where I was happy to see that once again from the young All-Star guard, fighting through some of that adversity, having his partner here for the game. We know how it looks with he and Joel Embiid. That's easy. He got his first career triple-double almost 2 weeks ago against the Chicago Bulls by handing out a career-high triple-double with those, I think, 12 or 14 assists that he had. And a good number of those went to Joel Embiid on that pick and pop, that pocket pass right to Joel Embiid, knocking down the shot against the Chicago Bulls. And you saw that smile on his face once again. And you saw it once again on Monday against the Charlotte Hornets as he lit them up for that 40 and knocked down those 6 threes. He was 12 for 28 in just under 40 minutes of play, and he put it on. 5 assists, 5 rebounds. He had 4 turnovers. So what?
Yeah, that's
because
fine.
I like the fact that, again, he's handling the basketball as much as he was.
Right.
The activity was there, and we saw the counter to stopping him from behind the three-point line or stopping him at the rim. And while they didn't, though, he gave them something else to think about.
Yeah, and for most of the first month of the season, to get back to your original point, he had to do everything. With Paul George being out, with Joel Embiid being out, he had to, take the burden on offense. He had to take the burden on defense, and that's going to beat down on you. That's going to wear down on you. And again, when you don't get the calls and when you're losing, and you're going to be a little bit, naturally frustrated, as you mentioned. So, now that you have a Paul George back to alleviate some of that burden, now that you have Joel Embiid back to alleviate some of that burden, again, you can kind of play that carefree basketball. Like, even if you go to the basket and don't get fouled, it's okay, because again, like, you'll get it, like you don't have to worry about everything else. You don't have to worry about not getting the calls and, having to defend the best player on defense on the other side and everything else that goes with that, because again, you have 2 all-star caliber players next to you can pick up some of that slack. So I think we're going to see a different Tyrese Maxey going forward, because again, he just doesn't have that entire weight of carrying this team on his shoulders anymore.
No, he does not. So we'll see what it looks like tonight. Again, 5 rebounds, 5 assists in the game, 8 assists. That's one thing that's really stood out for the Paul George side, where the playmaking is there. He'll give you the occasional, and we actually had it for the WTF moment of the night. What was he thinking when he threw the ball to no one on the sideline, and it went straight past the official? KJ Martin, I believe, was somewhere out there on the wing, and he threw it to no one. It was a funny moment, but for the most part, over the last few games, about a week or so, week and a half, for the play that Paul George has had, his distribution, his playmaking skills have been really good for the Sixers out there. 8 assists, 5 rebounds. He had 2 steals, 1 block shot. So his defense, he's still doing that. While he may not get a number of steals, he's still getting a lot of pokeaways where he's disrupting the action.
Disrupting the offense.
Exactly. So seeing some good things there. So this has been great, man. That has been another aspect of his game. While we've seen it for years from Indiana to OKC, Los Angeles, we know that he can be a 6'9" playmaker also. He can fill up the stat sheet.
Yeah.
We saw some bad of that as he's coming back. But now he's starting to string these games together, starting to get into a really good feel, comfortable on the floor with his teammates. You see the assist numbers going up. And he also does it early.
Right. And just to kind of go back to your defensive point, again, like, people have issues or people have concerns about Tyrese Maxey defensively. Tyrese Maxey, is what he is defensively. But if you have a Paul George, next to him, if you have Kelly Oubre, who's playing fantastic defense next to him, if you have Joel Embiid in the paint, I mean, that covers up a lot of stuff, right? Like that kind of, alleviates a lot of concerns that I have about Maxey and about, McCain when he was out there, playing defense, because you have high-level defenders behind them, next to them, that can cover up a lot of those mistakes or errors or guys who when they get past them.
So as you look at tonight, you mentioned Kelly Oubre. Let's move to the key matchups here tonight. We'll get to our Bet365 pregame picks in just a moment. The key matchups here tonight. I really don't think it's against anybody on the Charlotte side. It's just more of do your thing. That's the matchup.
Okay.
No self-inflicted wounds to allow a bad team to stay in the game, to give them any belief that they can actually win this basketball game.
Okay.
That's mine. I mean, that's just me.
No, that's fine. That's fair. I mean, like you kind of mentioned it before. Like,
the other team stinks tonight. They stink anyway.
Keep Miles Bridges in check and you're fine. So, again, whoever draws the Miles Bridges assignment, don't let him go for 35. All right? Like, that's your key matchup, right? If Miles Bridges doesn't score 35 points tonight, you should win this game by double figures. I mean, outside of that, you're right. Like, at every position group across the board, you win. You're clearly better.
Right. If you go through it and you're like, all right, check it off. Right. So who has the advantage, right? Who has the advantage? Like we used to see back in the day in the Daily News.
Exactly.
And mainly for the Eagles games.
Right.
Who wins this coaching event? Right. You have the advantage everywhere, including the bench.
Yeah. Including the bench, including coach, whatever you want. So again, just keep their best player in relative check, and you should win this game.
Kelly Oubre, because he was phenomenal. He was the third star in that game. He finished with 19 on 7-for-11 shooting, had a big 3 in the second half, where the Hornets tried to come back and have the Sixers scared a little bit.
It's the NBA. Everybody makes a run.
He knocked the 3 down and pushed it to about 7 or 8, and with that 3, then they started to go on a run, and they just pulled away from him. But not only that, he had a string before Monday that was snapped of double-double games, points and rebounds. He finished with 9 rebounds in this Monday's game where it was snapped. And he also had 2 steals, also had a block shot, 4 assists. He's really starting to get back to that March, April from last season going into the playoffs. Kelly Oubre, where he knew his role and he fit it perfectly next to Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, 12, who was also in the starting lineup at the time. Now you have Paul George. He knows his role, and he's really filling it up in that particular role.
Yeah, I was a little bit concerned because, October, early November, Kelly Oubre wasn't the Kelly Oubre that I wanted or I thought we were going to get once they re-signed him. Because like you said, late season Kelly Oubre was, a very good Kelly Oubre. But that first month of the season, first 10 games of the season, 10, 15 games, wasn't quite the player that we saw. But, now, offensively, I think we kind of know what we're going to get out of Kelly Oubre for the most part. Defensively, I don't want to say he's been a revelation, but he's been very good. Like he's been he's been a better defensive player than I would have expected him.
Taking pressure off of Paul George with that. Yeah,
exactly.
Man.
Taking pressure off of Paul George. So so kudos to Kelly Oubre. Do we get this for another 50 games? I doubt it. But I mean, I love this run. And if we can get some semblance of this come playoff time, this is going to be a really hard team, defensively to score against. Come playoff time. Because again, with
that's what we
George
thought
and
with the trio of the wings in the starting lineup initially before the injuries started to take place with Caleb Martin, Kelly Oubre, and Paul George. With Joel Embiid on the back end, a prideful Tyrese Maxey at the top there, defending the guys, not wanting to be the weak link of that 5-man group. Yeah, that's exactly what we thought. And now it's even more important for the moment because Paul George is making his way back. Caleb Martin is out. And he's dealing with that shoulder issue, also out tonight. So no Caleb Martin, everybody, for tonight's game. He's out dealing with that shoulder injury. He was still playing decent enough defense, but while he is out, you needed that second player or at that wing position to help out Paul George to maybe take the tougher assignment, and that's exactly what he's doing. It's also allowed some Ricky Council, the fourth minutes, to get out there, do some good things in certain games to help them out in these wins. You also see some others from KJ Martin, who has the start here tonight, and it allows, quite frankly, a guy who's been playing out of position all season long, it allows Yabusele to, if he's hitting a bit of a wall right now, what are we, 24 games into the season, come off the bench, play your role, do all the little things that you've shown that you can help win a basketball game, the intangible stuff to help win a basketball game, for Yabusele to just get used to that again. Because eventually, if he is going to start to come off the bench, it's going to be with that unit of Andre Drummond, whoever else is there coming off the bench, but he's going to be one part of that second unit group to come in. So that allows Nick Nurse to see what all of that looks like, to see Yabusele at the 4. So Kelly Oubre, it helps with everything where he's not going to the bench. It's just allowing everything else, the puzzle pieces, to snap into place for right now. So good stuff from Kelly Oubre. We'll see what we get from the rest of the group here as well. Rich P was asking, is this the last time that you see the Charlotte Hornets this season?
Good Lord. Yes. I hope so, man.
Yes.
This is the 18th time they play the Hornets? My God.
Time. The season sweep is on the line here tonight.
17-0, baby.
17-0. All jokes. 3 games in the books. This is the 4th and final one, and they've had their 2-game home-and-home series with the win on Monday. We'll see if the Sixers can win tonight. Let's get to our pregame picks, brought to you by Bet365. Our Bet365 pregame picks brought to you by Bet365. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Bree, let's throw those picks up there. Now that Joel Embiid is playing, I'm locked in. I don't know what he's going to do with the mask, but I do think he will pass the basketball over 3.5 assists for Joel Embiid. I coupled that in a parlay with Paul George over 19.5 points. That's free money.
Free money.
19.5 points. He lit this team up on Monday. He's going to do it again. Over 19.5 with Joel Embiid's 3.5 assists. The same game parlay puts you at plus 190. Bet responsibly as always, but I think this is a good one. I'm on a good one right there. Rich, what's yours?
Rich, also, I don't know what Rich is.
I'm sorry. Roy, what is yours?
My apologies. No worries. We'll go with Nick Richards at over 7.5 rebounds and minus 135. Somebody has to grab some rebounds for the Charlotte Hornets.
Somebody.
Grant Williams isn't there. Mark Williams isn't there. LaMelo Ball's not there. It's probably going to be 40 loose balls out there for somebody to grab. Nick Richards averaging 9.1 rebounds per game this year. Had a run where he was going double digits for quite a bit at the beginning of the season. Kind of cooled down a little bit, but 7.5 rebounds and minus 135 seems to me like, you can put some money down on that and go out there and get yourself a tickle me yum tomorrow. Let's do it.
Well, he had 19 on Monday in 15 minutes plus. worth of run. A lot of that is because LaMelo was out there passing him alley-oops, setting them up pretty easily. He also had 5 boards in that short amount of time. And so I like that. I think that's a good number. Somebody has to get the rebounds.
Somebody's got to get it.
It might be him. It might be, what's my man's name? Diabate, also off the bench. Gave Embiid some trouble the first time that he played against them. So make sure you go and put those picks in at Bet365. Once again, Bet365, our pregame picks brought to you by Bet365. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary. At Bet365, you must be 21 plus and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Our pregame sponsor, Coors Light. Visit CoorsLight.com/PHLY basketball to get Coors Light delivered or to find a store near you. Double-digit win?
Double-digit win.
Win.
Yeah, win.
All right.
Double-digit win. Absolutely.
All right. I agree with you. Yeah. They get this one relatively easy. And don't look past Charlotte to get ready for Cleveland tomorrow night, but pick up win number 9 tonight. And we'll talk to you after the game. For Bree, Roy, I'm Devon. We'll be back after the game to talk about win number 9 and hopefully a season sweep over the Charlotte Hornets for the 19th time this season against the Charlotte Hornets. So enjoy the game, everybody. Get your Coors Light, sit back, put your feet up, choose chill. Sixers, Hornets, they're getting ready to come up. We'll talk to you after the game right here on the PHLY Sixers podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.